Welcome to the Infinite Podcast. My name is Carlos Andres Ruiz, and I am here with my wife, Melissa Ruiz Vasquez. First of all, you look great.
Oh, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm enjoying this weather. It's
Yes.
really warm, but in here, fortunately, the AC's going,
Yes.
so I like that. But I'm just loving the weather. Missing the rain, ironically, though.
Missing the rain?
Yeah.
You're loving the weather and missing the rain? A whole
Duality.
duality. I love when there's light out there.
Mm.
It feels like the good weather is heading this way, but you never know. It can snow in 3 days here in New England. But
I rebuke.
so what do we talk about in this podcast, Mel?
So whatever we talk about, we always pull it back to relational intelligence, emotional intelligence, and character development.
Yes, those are the three pillars that we are so passionate about, not just in this podcast, but in every space that we walk into, whether it's the soccer field, mental performance, or just relationships. We feel that relational intelligence, emotional intelligence, and character development really unlock the fullness of who we are. And it's something that it's not that there's one that's more important than the other, but it's like they are interwoven or intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to find how to use them in the right moments. I see it like a ball, like I don't know, like in there's like colors inside, but being able to use it in the right moments and stretch one out a little bit more brings out the best human in us, especially when we use it for the better of others and the better of ourselves, not one or the other. But so yeah, that's what we talk about in this podcast. And today we're gonna go on to part two of a conversation that we started last week with the topic was hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so we've been on a journey of navigating these 6 words that I feel so passionate about, and they've invaded my spirit and my soul. And the 6 words are help humans walk life hiding less. And I was watching the first one on help. It felt like that was the best podcast that we've done yet. So if you haven't watched that one, go and look for it. I think the title was Why We Ask AI for Help, but Not Each Other.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a really good episode, and I thought it was just really helpful for anybody listening. So today, back to hiding. Okay, we talked a little bit about hiding. I proposed the fact that if we're hiding, it's a personal declaration of hating ourselves anytime that you hide in whichever any way. And hate is an intense word, but I think I would love the opposite. Anytime that you hide less, it's like a declaration of how much you love yourself. And not in a narcissistic way, but in a way of how compelled you are by the gift of your character and identity and creativity and what you were given, not for yourself, but to add to the world. And when you are able to love that part about you, you just walk into spaces differently. Before we go back into our hiding topic, why don't we do our warm-up?
Yes, sir.
I picked the cards today. I have not looked at them.
So do you read them, or
I
do I
don't
read
know
them?
if I read them or if you read them.
I think last one, I don't remember who read it last.
What was the last? Last one was help humans walk life. It was life.
Life and oh.
Yes. Oh, and it was hiding. We started with hiding. Okay, I'll go. Okay, that's a pretty. I was gonna say that's pretty easy, but it's a question, and it's for you.
It's for both of us. Thank you.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ready for this.
Okay.
What is your favorite movie?
Oh, no. I'm not a movie buff.
You're
I
not
suck.
a movie buff?
Yeah, I'm so bad at watching movies. You know this. Well, like, okay. How do I say this? There's little chance that I sit down and I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie, and this is the movie I'm gonna watch. So little chance. It has to be like you and I are like, we're gonna watch a movie, and we know If not, we're like doom scrolling through like all the options and we're like, I don't know what to pick. And then we throw on Ted Lasso or like anything that's like comfort watch. I'm not good at sitting down and just like choose a movie.
So just what's the last movie that you felt like
Yeah, my fault. I
took
went
you
on a
with?
tangent.
took you? The last
Took
movie?
me?
Yeah, like you're like, oh shoot, I forgot I was watching a movie. I was so into it.
I don't think I really forget that I'm watching a movie. The last movie I went to go watch in theaters was Wicked.
Oh yes, I remember you went.
Yes. That was good. It was cute. And I'm a sap, so like whenever any movie
you
is
cry?
on, of course.
Okay.
Okay, but like not like oh my god, hysterical cry. Like I was like a little like my eyes got a little like oh, and that's it. But like there are some movies that it's like legit tears going down.
Like which one?
I guess the first movie that immediately came to mind was Brave. Did you ever watch that one? It's a Disney movie.
Is it a girl
Yes.
with
Red hair, curls.
I know of it, but I don't know.
Yes.
Actually, no, I did watch it. Yeah. I remember getting lost in it. Yeah.
That one. It's a lot of Disney movies now that I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about now Turning Red, but also like, well, I think we watched Fences. I think that one made me cry, probably. Because like, that was a lot.
It was a lot.
That was a lot. Most movies, it make me cry.
Okay.
That's the statement I'm leaving with today. Like, because if they're trying to tug on heartstrings, I'm there. Like, tug away.
You
Like,
do a lot?
no, there isn't much. I'm just, once I start watching a movie, I'm like in it. Like, if you, I talk a lot during movies, which I know some people hate, but depending on the movie. But
This is such a fascinating topic. I don't know if it'll get us off tangent, but I didn't realize how interconnected was how people experience social media and their real life. And so I normally, when I'm on social media, I'm just looking at things. Maybe I'll like it. If I really love what I see, maybe I'll save it. But that's as far as I go. And then when you were telling me about how you experience social media, you look at the content and then you go into the comments.
yeah, that's where it's at. That's where the party's at. Like, what do you mean?
And it's not to like comment. It's because the comments is
It's
an
never to
extension
comment.
of the.
Yes.
And I had never lost myself in the comment section. Anytime I go to the comments, it's because I'm gonna say something,
gosh,
and I rarely do that. But when we're watching something and I just hear you comment and comment and comment, I'm like, oh, she lives the world in the same way.
Yeah.
She just always has a comment.
Not always, all right? Not always.
That's right.
Most time. All right, I'm leaving. You can do this by yourself.
I'll do it by myself and you just hear your comments coming in. Which then, like, when I ask you for help, with any any piece of content or written thing, like, you immediately have the comments like, you missed this or you missed that or you missed this, in like you missed the period or should this be that. So you're really good detail orientated, and I wonder if that's because the comments, because you have something to say, and you want to hear what people have to say. But I don't know. I like I said, this could take us off topic, but it was fascinating to see that first there's a whole other world of experiencing social media by diving into the comments, not to comment, but to just read.
Dude.
What do you love? Like, what do you mean by that's the party?
Don't
I
get
literally
me
saw
started.
a party in there.
This is just okay. This is about the comments, and this is a comment episode because, like, say I already watched like a hilarious video. Lately, it's been mostly like Instagram Reels. Say I see something and it's so funny. I know the first comment is going to be
Hilarious?
like ×2. Like, cause people are so funny and creative. So like, they'll say something and I start cackling. Like, I'm sure I could pull up one. I just go on right now and find the first video. Dude, it's so funny. And like, not only that, then you'll have somebody comment off of that comment. And that one's
It's an
funny
infinite
too.
cycle?
Yes, dude. If it's not that it's a funny video, it's like I'm wondering if somebody is thinking what I'm thinking. Like
Okay.
I know somebody
Why
said
don't you
this.
comment?
For what? Because by the time I watch the video, there's like a lot of people have already commented, and I'm so, I don't know if this is like, I don't know what this is. I'm not gonna put a label on it, but that I'm like what I think doesn't really matter because it's not unique. I know somebody else had already thought this and already said this, so then I'll go find that comment and maybe I'll give that a little like. So that's my way of saying
So
like,
you
yeah,
even like the
retweet.
comments?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
If they're really good, or if I feel like I have a strong opinion enough, I'm like, yeah, like, or like, I will be like almost crying laughing sometimes because of the comments. Like,
I don't remember the last comment I liked.
dude, remember like throwback Twitter where everything was crazy and threads were a thing?
Yeah. It's basically
The
that.
threads were so good.
Yeah, the threads on Twitter or X are good.
It's the same thing. Those were comments. People were just commenting on this original tweet.
Yeah. So
And
so
those
Twitter and
were
X are
always funny.
just a comment section of life
Basically,
or the world. Okay.
it's like there's an original post, which is the tweet.
But
or
even the post itself is a comment.
Yeah, I guess you're commenting on life.
Yeah. Politics, whatever.
Yeah, but it's the party. It's like where people are going crazy. Like, I know
I believe you.
it's so funny.
I believe
love
you.
it.
And you've shown me some that are really funny. Because it's like, it is what you may have thought, or like it gives a different point of view to the same video, and it lands
Yeah.
the content. So, anyways, you love what? Why did we get there? How did we get there? Were we talking about movies?
Yeah, we were talking about movies. Oh, because I talk during movies sometimes.
Oh yes.
But like if I sit down and watch a movie, I commit to that movie. Like if I think that's why I struggle so hard to like choosing a movie and stuff like that, because I'm like, if I'm gonna start it, I need to finish it. Like I can't have that. I can't make it halfway through a movie and be like, I'm not gonna finish it.
Yeah, I don't.
No,
like
I
that
have to
either.
commit those however many minutes that movie is. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch it from beginning to end. I'll watch the credits. No, I'm just kidding. That's forced. But like, and I'm gonna be in the story. Like I'm the type of person that if I'm gonna get up because I need to use the bathroom, I'm gonna pause it because I don't want to miss like anything that's gonna give me the context of understanding the rest of this movie. Or I'm also the kind of person who will like guess what the end is or like guess where everything is going. I feel like you can't help but try to imagine what's next or what does this mean for the plot of the movie. But all that to say that it's much easier, I think, in my head to commit to something Disney because I know it's going to be lighthearted. Because if I'm so invested in the plot and you put on something devious or scary or like aggressive, like gory, like I can't be fully in that with you, or I'm gonna opt out to not be in it because I don't want to be a gladiator who's like killing a bunch of people or a possessed person. So I'm probably just gonna stick to Pixar and Disney, and I know there's gonna be parts that make me sad, happy, mad, all in one movie, and I'm gonna be okay with it.
No, there are some very good movies with Disney that even end up landing as like, I know you haven't asked, but one of my favorite movies
Shut up.
is Inside Out.
Yes, that one's so good.
Inside Out is great, and I can't say it's my favorite movie because it's my sister's favorite movie. I feel like she has,
Y'all can't have the same.
no, she has ownership, she has rights.
Okay.
I do love Soul.
Soul is really
Soul is
good.
But yeah, it's light, but I do like how connected they are to the real world, and they send a pretty, I don't know if it's challenging or like it puts you to like, oh shoot, there's an extension of that in me here, even though that's cartoons. So yeah, so I like that. I wonder, it's the common thing is such a like case study because
You call me a case study?
we all are a case study. Because it actually reveals so much of the person. Like I don't live in the comments, and one of the episodes you talked about me being like Roy, and like I don't really care what people have to comment.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You don't care.
I don't care about what people that are not part of my circle have to say. If you comment or if people that are close to me comment, if I knew that you guys commented, I would go see what you guys say because I care what you say. But I'm very desensitized from the from going to search for the comments. And I do think that you do have a high value for what people have to say, and that is seen in the comments, but also in the real world. Um, I think it also speaks of, for me, is that I feel that I believe that I have something to say, even when what I have to say may not even be as important. I believe in that, and I wonder if like you feel a little bit less that like what I have to say doesn't really matter, that other people say it. And I think that there's no good or bad. It's like we were talking today about how people are so uh, people are so stimulated right now by being the owners of the vision and making the vision happen, and everybody wants full autonomy of what their vocation is, and everybody wants to be the CEO. But if everybody's a CEO, there's no employees, and we are losing the beauty of somebody has a vision that's compelling, and then you have a group of people that run with them in that vision for a certain amount of time. But it almost seems like I'll run with your vision until I get more status so I can do my own vision. And and there's a beauty to the leader and the follower. And even yesterday when we were, you sent me a video about Genesis and how the woman was created to be the helper. And we confuse the helper as like, oh, I'm a contributor. When in reality is like the helper was created to help as an essential, not as a contributor, in a way that if you don't have my help, you're not going to be able to execute whatever it is that you want. And they were talking about how the word that God uses in the Hebrew, or the word that's there in the Hebrew, translates to the way that God describes himself. And so there's this, what does it look like to have a posture of both, and having a universe where I create the visions and I try to run things that I feel compelled by, and go into other people's universes and serving their vision, and being employees for other people, or helpers, or essential parts of that coming to fruition, but not being the person who comes up with the idea. And yeah, it feels like we only want to be the forefront of the ideas. I don't know if it's because social media gives us the illusion that everybody's watching us. So yeah, I don't. But it is an interesting point of view, that sometimes I think some people would say, if people are more like you, they would say like, no, that person's just a narcissistic, and they just want to be heard. And then a person like me would say like, no, that person doesn't believe in what they want to say. It was like, no, like those two are so important to however we progress humanity forward.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about hiding, and that's where we ended up going.
Yeah.
But I do, so going back to hiding, the question on movies is interesting because when we have to edit the podcast, or even just any post or filters or whatever it is, like the editing process is not actually anything other than the hiding process.
Yeah.
And so we've created a reality where we hide the fact that it's hiding, and we call it editing. And on the other side of editing, what we've perceived is that on the other side of editing is a better version, which technically what we're actually saying on the other side of hiding is a better version. How do you feel about that?
It's just crazy because in real, like, for example, when you did when you talk by yourself versus when we talk together, in terms of like filming content, you alone already like present a lot of content in real time, like as a coach, as like
Interesting. Yeah.
serving in spaces. And there's like we talked about, there's no editing process there. What people get is what comes
Yeah.
out, and like if I mess up, who cares? Keep it pushing. There's no like, can we edit that? Can we change that? Let me start again. It's just you keep rolling with the punches. But in this, you get so in your head about like, oh, I can edit that out later, or I can change that. I can make this look in a certain way. And at what point does it become that I'm editing out, I guess, the humanity to talk about what we when we talked about humans, all the mistakes I make, all the likes I say on this dang thing that irritate me when I have to listen to it, all the all the whatever, the things that we don't like, or the things that I might say that I'm like, ooh, I don't know how anyone's gonna take that, that you want to just like take out. But like, if we were live right now, and someone decided to watch our one viewer decided.
That's interesting.
Like-
the fact that you call it live. So when anytime you edit, you're like, it's more from a dead point of view. Like your content is more dead the more you edit it. And I think that's probably why, at least for me, I prefer the stories, like watching the stories on Instagram, or even just social media itself, because social media gives you the illusion that you're getting insight in somebody's real world. And as opposed to when you see, for example, Denzel Washington in a movie. And there's something stimulating about seeing Denzel Washington outside of a movie, because it's the human that like, oh, what is his lifestyle? Because if I can relate to him outside of the movie, then I can relate more because I am not a Hollywood star. And so I think social media captures the illusion, or a less filtered version of like the celebrities. So we appeal to that, and so I do feel that we crave it. Like we crave to see the most authentic version of this person. That's why we follow these famous people on these platforms. So yeah, so it's just, are we ever not hiding?
If we have that question for ourselves, like we were watching Number One on the call sheet,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
sure if that's exactly what it's called, but I can't help now, especially with the frequencies and everything we learned about like a motivator and a performer. Actors are literally called performers, or like they're performing. I can't imagine the psychological, like, I don't understand how they do it. Like they go, say you do a movie, you're in that character for like a year plus. Like so much time of your day you're spending acting like somebody else. And if that's not similar to who you are, and some of them do, what's that called? I don't know, where they like act like that, their character all the time, all day, so that they like really sell it for the movie. Dude, I don't know how they do that.
In that documentary, there was a line that shook me from, I think it was Jamie Foxx, that said, I figured out how to be invisible.
Yeah.
And because I became invisible, I actually became one of the best. And so, in fact, it's like when people start to recognize you for example, Ted Lasso instead of Jason, you're actually more successful. You know, and when you do the best performance or the best movie that you've ever done, you're almost dying to everybody else seeing you again as who you are outside of that movie. And that's such a dangerous road, and they must have to really, really be helped with, like, I'm guessing mental performance experts or any type of like psychological to be able to go. And also like it has to be so hard because you win an Oscar with the role, and now you have to go and play a different role, and now the expectations are you got status because of that role. And how much of Ted Lasso can can we find in another show that has that same actor that reminds of Ted Lasso, and and slowly it's like we're not looking for Jason at all,
Mm.
and you live a reality where like my goal is for people to look forward less to the real me. That's so scary.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
It just makes me think of hiding. Like
Yeah.
they're just constantly.
And like imagine Jason, the actor of Ted Lasso. We go by first name, you know.
Yeah, yeah. My boy Jason.
My boy Jason. His son goes to school and they say your dad is Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm.
So not only he has to live with that, but everybody's telling him what his dad is not.
Mm.
That has to be so. I don't want to say unhealthy, but I think it is unhealthy if there's not enough moments on which you create boundaries of like I have to remember that this is who I am.
Mm.
Yeah, that's so dangerous. I think dangerous.
It made me think about. Sorry, you were gonna.
No, go ahead.
Will Smith in that same, like, what's documentary?
Mm-hmm.
Said he's like, oh, I'm gonna be the best actor like worldwide.
Mm.
It's like, that's a commitment to
Mm.
like, not being you.
Yeah.
24/7.
That's also saying I'm gonna become the best at not being myself
Mm-hmm.
in the world.
Yeah, to be whatever it is that they need me to be.
Wow, that's tough.
That's
That's tough. And I'm very cautious. So even when I was gonna start to approach my coaching services as mental performance coaching, I was like, I don't know how I feel about the word performance because performance immediately means that you are not who you are. You have to play another role. And the way that I accepted that title was because we have to go from the reality that we are going to perform. And in fact, if I call it performance, I am creating separation as opposed to I am the soccer player. So no, you're gonna go perform as a soccer player, and then when you come back home, you're back to Andres or whoever you wanna or whoever you are. So I think there is part of it. Even when anybody has addictions, is the first step is to recognize it or to be aware of it. And so I think that as long as we actually use the word performance as this is a moment in which I am going to be not me, I'm going to be an extension of me, and then I'm going to return. And part of our mental performance is helping them optimize their performance in that role, but then making sure they can come back to who they are. And if we don't do that, we would be doing a disservice to anybody that we coach. And it's you can get lost in, well, I'm really helping this athlete perform better and better and better and better and better, and let me just continue to make him believe that he's only that soccer player or basketball player, and then we forget that those are finite. And when that ends, it's good that I helped you in that domain, but I almost killed your real persona in the process, and that is something that I would never want to do to an athlete.
Yeah. So funny you mentioned.
Funny I mentioned what?
Andres. So, when you enter the podcast, your full name is Carlos Andres Ruiz. I want the people to know
For the people
why you go by Andres and why you essentially hide Carlos.
That's a great question. So we don't have time to continue the topic of of hiding. No, that is a great question. Why do I choose to hide Carlos in this season of my life and run with Andres? I don't know if we have time to unpack all of this, but first of all, let me just start at the place where even this podcast is a moment of bringing Carlos back. You know, I is the first moment in which I start to intro myself as Carlos Andres Ruiz to reclaim that version of me. But the biggest reason that I choose to hide Carlos is because Carlos hid Andres for so long.
Mm.
And Carlos was a very good soccer player and very charismatic, and Carlos was always uh, perceived as uh, somebody that's good at something, and for most of the time it was soccer, and it is my first name, and so when I would go to school in attendance, they would call me Carlos Ruiz, and I felt like correcting every single person was going to be draining, and at the end of the day, in your player career, you got to run with the name that's given more status to what it is that you do, not knowing that performing only as Carlos was not really performing as Carlos, it was performing as a soccer player. And it made me lose the texture of the fullness of what I am and what I represent. It may be very meta, but the reality is like our names are a construct. Like somebody picked that thing.
Yeah.
And and so that's the biggest reason why I decided to shift. And when I went back to helping at East Boston High School, um, I intentionally decided I'm going to be Coach Andres because they still have like diplomas or pictures or
The awards.
awards of Carlos Ruiz. And I didn't want to live my entire life based on something that I did good in the past because that would be so easy to just try to continue to just use that when I have an entirety of life to continue to find all the textures of who I am. I wanted to challenge myself to gain credibility from somebody who doesn't have status. And at the end of the day, I will never be able to fully run away from it. Like they end up finding out who I really am, but I don't want that to be the immediate interaction that it's, oh, that's the kid that played at Eastie and got these awards and went Division One, and it made me want to hide because in fact, running with that would actually be hiding who I really am. And yeah, and another part of it is one of the people that um, is no longer with us that I think loved me the absolute most was my grandmother, and well, she still loves me, um, and she called me Andres,
Mm.
and my sister calls me Andres, and those are two very very important people to my existence, and I could have the worst day or the best day, but they would love Andres, and Andres didn't need to perform well or get a scholarship or get degrees for them to love me. My grandma, like, what does she know or care about a master's degree
Yeah.
or a scholarship? She was fully in love with um, the moments in which we interacted, and that made me want to continue to be Andres. So to answer your question, that's why I hide Carlos, but I am in the process of bringing them back together because I think Carlos made a lot of bad decisions,
Mm-hmm.
and that when I put these two personas, like Andres is not proud of all the things that Carlos did, and it's almost like reconciliation with Carlos and understanding why I did some of the things that maybe I would not have done, but it was from taking advantage of the status that Carlos gave me, and um, and yeah, so thank you for asking. That's a really good question that I think helps people understand the dynamic that even when you try to hide less, um, hiding is a reality that we can't run away from, but we can attempt to become the most authentic version of ourselves, and that's also part of the reason why in those 6 words, and we'll close with this because it'll help us transition um, into the next episode. But that's why the end is less, because we never actually achieve help people walk life not hiding.
Mm.
It's it's really difficult, and so if we can at least do it less, I think it's going to be really important. Not really important. If we can at least do it less, I think we will run into the more authentic version of who we were designed to be. Um, yeah, so we'll end it there. This was fun. This was I love talking about shows, movies, and then connecting it to our real world. Is there anything that you would run away with today? I think what helps me is like, is there something that you would like to from this conversation to teach our kids?
Don't be an actor. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't be an actor.
No. I think the lifestyle's got to be hard.
Or maybe like running along with that is that pay attention to the people that don't need you to edit to love you.
There it is.
That's the one.
That's it. Yeah, I'm gonna take that.
You're gonna take
Thank
that
you.
one?
Yeah.
What did I say? Like it just sounded correct.
Yeah, it sounded good. No. Pay attention to the people that don't require you to edit yourself. And like still love you.
Yeah.
Without that editing process.
Yeah. That's good. Cool. Well, thank you for loving me, because you see me in the unedited and in the edited versions, and you still believe in me. In the same way that my grandma did, and that makes me emotional. I love you, and we'll see you guys next episode.